Now, continuing with our benign bone tumors, we will be moving on in this section towards haemangioma, cysts that includes unicameral bone cysts, aneurysmal bone cyst, and other fibrous dysplasias. We'll, what is haemangioma? It's a haemangioma, as the word suggests. It's something related to the vessels. It's a benign lesion of bone composed of capillary blood vessels, small or large caliber. It's most commonly present in the fifth decade, and usually it's more common in females. Commonly seen in the vertebral bodies, and it mainly involves the bodies of the vertebra, not the posterior elements, followed by craniofacial bones. In long bones, it affects the metaphysis and can rarely affect the diaphysis as well. May cause symptoms in spine. If it's usually in case spine, it's mainly present in the interior aspects of the body, but sometimes it can large enough that it can cause nerve root compression in the posterior elements of the spine, resulting in spinal symptoms, which may be in case of spine cord compression, pain, and neurological symptoms. If you see, this is an X-ray, although it's not depicting that classical pattern of a jailhouse appearance in case of hemangiomas, but usually involves mainly the body, and the treatment is not required because spinal instability is not affected. But if it is causing neurological compromise or cord compression symptoms, then maybe treatment is necessary, which includes firstly embolization so that a lot of blood is not lost, and then removal of the lesion. Coming to the epithelioid haemangioma, it's another variety of haemangioma which is more locally aggressive. It's more frequently seen in females. It may be in long bones and affecting the flat bones, vertebra, and tubular bones. And again, in case of spine, and it usually affects the anterior part of the vertebra. And in case of long bones, it affects mainly the metaphysis. It's usually multifocal and regional. That instead of a single lesion, there are multiple lesions, presents with pain, and it's a kind of aggressive form of haemangioma. As you can appreciate over here, this is an MRI of if you see the distal femur and the proximal tibia can be seen over here. This is the area where it's probably arising along with the popliteal artery, and this is where it's most commonly present. Now this is another diagram which is actually showing usually the metaphyseal region of the distal tibia is involved. Similarly, over here, the metaphyseal region of the proximal tibia is involved. As you can appreciate in this, that this is actually haemangioma, which is involving both the distal metaphysis and the proximal metaphysis. What is the treatment? Treatment is curettage, en bloc resection, and radiotherapy may be required, particularly if inaccessible region. If they're somewhere around in the pelvis, sometimes you cannot do all the curettage or en bloc resection. Therefore, radiotherapy may have to be utilized post-operatively. Coming to the simple cyst or unicameral bone cyst. Usually, they're solitary unilocular cyst cavity lined by fibrous membrane and filled with serous or serous sanguineous fluid. They are called as simple bone cysts because usually they are asymptomatic, and either there is incidental finding, and once they are found out, they usually found out when they results in a fracture, and this kind was usually most commonly they are found out after the fracture. More frequently in the proximal humerus, then the proximal femur and the proximal tibia. Although this is showing a rare variety of unicameral bone cysts, but usually the commonest is around 10 to 20 years of young adult male presenting with lesion in the balloon-like lytic lesion in the proximal humeral metaphysis, the most common presentation of UBC. It affects metaphyseal area close to the physis. Fractures through the lesion is not uncommon, but mostly incidental, or if it's found out, it's resulting after fracture after a trivial fall. There is a sign called as fallen leaf sign, usually which can be seen because there's a debris which is falling down into the lower part of the aspect. For example, it's not visible over here, but it classically can be seen on the X-ray. Due to this debris, it appears as if the leaves are falling to the ground in case as usually the leaf fall from the trees in autumn. Treatment, if it's incidental, If the bone has not fractured, then it's slightly different. But if the bone has already fractured, actually it increases the healing potential because of the increased proliferation of osteoclasts. So if it has already fractured, then the treatment is simply splintage of the limb, so that allow the healing to process. But if the fracture has not occurred, then the probably option is percutaneous injection of steroid. But if that fails, then extended curettage and bone grafting is the treatment of choice. Now coming to aneurysmal bone cyst, as we know that it's secondary to some kind of it's a benign expansile lesion of bone composed of blood-filled cystic, because it's as the name suggests, is related to some kind of aneurysm. Usually the cavity is blood-filled rather than a serous fluid, which is in case of UBC. It's relatively more aggressive, destructive lesion. Histologically, it's benign. Results in significant disability because it's quite painful at times, and most commonly it's seen in the metaphysis of long bones, especially femur, tibia and humerus. Now the difference between UBC and ABC is really that both are seen in the metaphysis. Usually they are expansile lytic lesions, but ABC actually is going away from the physis and UBC is actually going towards the physis. Then there is a fallen leaf sign, which is most commonly seen in unicameral bone cyst or simple bone cyst, while in this usually there are multiple septi which can be seen in case of aneurysmal bone cyst. And this is on MRI, we usually see a double density sign as well. If you see, this is again an expansile lytic lesion, and there are multiple septi which can be visible over here. If we get an MRI of this bone, then we see this double density sign because this is a blood-filled cavity. Then there is tumor cells in blood. Actually, this produces two densities, yielding a double density sign which can be seen on MRI. Treatment is curettage of the lesion of the biopsy, and usually radiation may be necessary, but mostly extended curettage and filling the cavity with the bone graft and bone substitutes. Another benign disorder called as fibrous dysplasia. It's a benign medullary fibrous osseous lesion which may affect one bone when it is monostotic, or when it is polyostotic, there may be multiple number of bones affected. Usually associated with craniofacial bones and most frequently affected at the femur and the craniofacial bones. It's actually associated with two different syndromes. One is called as McQueen-Alpert syndrome and other is Mesoprot syndrome. If it is monostotic, it will be a single lesion, usually not associated with any other abnormality. Polyostotics, there will be multiple lesions, and maybe if these multiple lesions are associated with cafe au lait spots and endocrine disorders, this is called as McQueen-Alpert syndrome. But if there is multiple polyostotic fibrous dysplasia associated with intramuscular myxoid myxomas, then it is called as Mesoprot syndrome. This is, if you see, usually the involvement is of the metaphysis and especially in the proximal femur, but the classical presentation of fibrous dysplasia is called as ground glass appearance. If you see this lesion, this is contained, well contained with a sclerotic rim around it, which means that the lesion has been contained and it's a benign. But this is it has a hazy appearance over here, and this is called as ground glass appearance. On the right side, you can appreciate the histopathology of the fibrous dysplasia. Now coming to osteofibrous dysplasia, again it's a benign lesion. It's a non-osseous lesion, although it's a misnomer, but it's not an exactly osseous lesion. It's a non-osseous lesion of the bone, typically seen in the anterior cortex of the tibia, particularly in children, the teenagers. Commonly seen in children in the first decade, exclusively seen in tibia, but can occur a rare occasion affect epicyclic fibula bilateral presentation. But it's highly unlikely to have osteofibrous dysplasia outside the tibia, and usually it's the metaphysis to diaphysis, mainly in the diaphyseal region and anteriorly. With moderate expansion, if you see it over here, this is classically metaphyseal to diaphyseal region and on the anterior aspect of the tibia, and especially in the children. The other disease which we have to differentiate as well as Haemangioma, which also presents almost the same area, usually anterior cortex, but it's usually in the adolescent and adulthood. usually 10 to 20 years of adult would probably come with a lesion in the anterior cortex of the tibia. Then lastly, we're going through the Langerhans histiocytosis. It's called as clonal proliferation of pathological Langerhans cells, as the name suggests, and may affect just the skeleton, where it may be solitary or polyostotic, or may manifest as a multi-system disease. It's also called as eosinophilic granuloma and may be associated with hand-shoulder-Christian disease, a letter CV disease, or histiocytosis X. All these are the name of the basically a broader term called as Langerhans histiocytosis. Less than 1% of all the osseous lesion, very rare, more frequent in men, more commonly seen in skull, pelvis, femur, and mandible. You see it over here. If you see the lytic lesions, which can be appreciated, multiple lytic lesions in the skull. Similarly, multiple lytic lesions usually if we are seen in the spine as well. We have gone through multiple benign tumors. We have gone through in the last section the two different common type of presentation of cysts, that is unicameral bone cyst or simple bone cyst, which is mostly asymptomatic but can present with a fracture. And we have also gone through the aneurysmal bone cyst, which is also more aggressive, still benign, but can present with an expansile lesion in the metaphysis and with a lot of painful limb as well. Lastly, we will also be going through the different other benign disorders as well, such as fibrous dysplasia, Langerhans histiocytosis. But the important thing is that they're all benign tumors and rarely seen in different locations. For case treatment for most of the benign tumor is intralesional curettage, but sometimes because some of the lesions are more aggressive, then we have to do extended curettage. That is, you have to take out all the bone in. We have to then debride the area with organ beam therapy along use of high-speed burr, and then we have to fill that cavity with either bone cement or bone graft. Thank you very much. Keep watching sqadia.com.